Welcome back to the Weekly YouTube channel. I'm your host, Owen, and today we're going to be going over my final XFL power rankings, as well as predicting the XFL playoffs that are going to be happening this weekend, as in tomorrow, as of the time of this recording and when this is going to be posted. So I just don't want to dwell on anything much. There's not much movement in the power rankings, so that's just going to be the first couple minutes of this. Here they are right here. I'm just going to lay them all out in front of you. Vipers and Guardians in their own bottom tier there. Both teams lost this week. Guardians got lit up by the Battlehawks. Didn't really have anything to play for, despite the play spoiler. But after a while, it was just a beatdown with Adrian McCarron having the game of his career to this point, professionally anyway. I don't know if he had any of them that were that great in Alabama, but yeah, insane, like 600 or 500 yards, 6 touchdowns, something insane like that. So this was a high flying game. And, I'm kind of disappointed we won't see the Battlehawks in the playoffs, but somebody had to get the boot from the North, and despite me wanting it to be the Defenders, it was unfortunately not. And the Vipers didn't really put up a much of a chance against the Sea Dragons. They could have played spoiler and had the Battlehawks come over and take over for the Sea Dragons, but, however, they just couldn't muster up enough offense to even get it within 6 points to get the tiebreaker back to the Battlehawks' favor. So, it's unfortunate, but now we have our playoff set, and, these two teams have been near the bottom most of the season. The Guardians were the bottom team for a long time, and the Vipers kind of took that mantle after a while. So it's really fitting that these two end in the bottom tier here, coming back to earth for the Guardians, that is. At number 6, the Renegades dropped down 1. They lost to the Roughnecks, and they're going to see them again now in the South section of the division finals for the playoffs. So it's probably going to be a repeat of the same thing. I thought Luis Perez coming here could have maybe gave them a fighting chance, but they've seemed to regress back to where they were prior to him arriving. So I don't feel like this South division is going to be real competitive, and these playoffs are pretty much done for the South now, unless something crazy happens. But this past week showed that that's probably not going to happen. And then the Brahmas going up 1 really pushed the Defenders. I know the Defenders weren't really playing for much because they had the entire North seed locked up already. So they didn't have a tiebreaker or anything. They weren't in fear of having one of the guys below them, the Battlehawks or the Sea Dragons, taking their spot from them. So, but they still, only lost by a point. So give the Brahmas some credit, especially against the Defenders, who, were seen as consensusly the best team in the league for most of the year after they took that mantle from the Roughnecks. Which, speaking of the Roughnecks, they and the Battlehawks both played really good this week and have joined that upper echelon, the final tier. So our top 4 teams, it's really a half and half, the have-nots and the haves in this league, where there's 4 really good teams and 4 not so great that are like inconsistently good in spots, but the majority of the time are just kind of trash. And the other 4 which are consistently good week to week, and those are the 4 we've seen here with Roughnecks at 4, Battlehawks at 3, again with that big game this week over the Guardians, Sea Dragons, and Defenders, 3 of which are our playoff teams strictly because of the playoff structure. Battlehawks not making it in because of tiebreakers. So that's my final rankings here. I'm not going to change them based on the playoffs or anything because that's really a different environment. I don't want to have those affect the regular season playoff rankings. So maybe post-final, we'll come back and have like a reconvening. And right now, Christian Tabor is doing the USFL power rankings on the channel. So hopefully at the end of the USFL season, we're going to come together and make a full 16-team power ranking. So if you still need your power ranking fix, go ahead and check that out. Also, I just got to say thanks for everybody for supporting me through these power ranking videos. I experienced some really good growth because of them. I think I've gotten like plus 70 subscribers or something since I started making these 10 weeks ago. So really thank you to everybody. And yeah, let's get into my playoff predictions. So first up, we have the North Division, the Defenders versus the Sea Dragons. And, the Defenders have been good all year, but I feel like their best football is kind of behind them. I haven't really seen them hit the next gear. I think they kind of plateaued with where they're at, which is still a really good football team. However, I do think the Seattle Sea Dragons have that firepower and ability to match up with them. And we've seen that in the past where they've lost by a point, or week 1 when all the offenses were kind of struggling, the Sea Dragons weren't able to really topple them, but neither were the Defenders looking all that great in that game. So I kind of throw that one out. The one I point to is the most recent one where the Sea Dragons and the Defenders really went blow for blow. And that was the one game that the Defenders rose to their competition level. Like, they met them and scored as many points as they could. If the Sea Dragons could have just tightened up a little more on defense, I think they could have had that game. But however the reason, I think, the Defenders were able to close it out. I do think the Sea Dragons take this one, though. I think they're going to beat the Defenders. I just don't feel like the Defenders are going to be able to do that again, replicate that. They're not that team that can really be explosive and put up so many points on a week-to-week basis. They rely more on defense, and grinding the ball down and sending that play action. Then they can hit their big plays. So I think Seattle might be able to coach themselves up and be prepared for this game, having played the Defenders now. This is going to be their third time to be ready to take on that. And now they're having that one game from a couple weeks back in their back pocket where they know, okay, they're going to hit the big play in these plays. And if we prevent that, we can outscore them and hit them over the top. I think they may be able to get this one and steal a win here and go to the finals. For the South, like I said, it's pretty much a wrap-up. The Roughnecks are going to topple the Renegades. There's not much here to be said. Just see last Week 10's game. Renegades really had a chance to beat the Roughnecks and get them a good foot forward, get some momentum into the finals where they're going to play them again. You never like seeing teams who have faced each other more than 2 times a year because there's always a chance for upset. However, I think this is pretty cut and dry that the Renegades are not as good as the Roughnecks. So here we are. We have our finals as the Houston Roughnecks face off against the Seattle Sea Dragons. And personally, I haven't actually decided on who I was going to win yet. I have betting interest in the Houston Roughnecks winning because I put money on them early on in the before the XFL season started. So it'd be best for me to bet or to go with my bet there. However, I do just feel like the Seattle Sea Dragons right now are the better team, and I'm going to pick them to win. Hopefully, Philip Lindsay can get going in this game, and their offensive line can hold them against this Houston Roughnecks pass rush, which has been dominant. That's the one thing that's been consistent for them since week 1. So if the Roughnecks quarterbacking play is lacking or subpar as it's been since the Brandon Silver's injury, then I really do think the Seattle Sea Dragons are going to be able to win this. So I do predict the Sea Dragons to take this one in the XFL finals. But yeah, I look forward to watching these games this weekend, and if the rest of you guys are too, go ahead and leave a comment and like this. Thank you again for everybody for watching this stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video.